You know, there's something deceptively simple about the idea of drinking water. People shrug it off. Yeah, I know I should drink more water, as if it were just a line in some wellness brochure. But that attitude reveals something deeper, a resistance to responsibility, even in its most basic form. Because hydration, when you really consider it, is not just about avoiding dry skin or fatigue. It's a daily confrontation with your own self-worth. It's a routine that says, I believe this body is worth maintaining. And that belief, or lack of it, shows up in the mirror, day after day. The skin is a boundary, literally. It's the line between you and the world, the physical manifestation of the border between chaos and order. And when it's dehydrated, when it's neglected, it begins to fray, it cracks, it dulls, it loses its ability to defend you. And that's no small thing. That's symbolic. Because if you can't take the time to preserve that boundary, what other boundaries are you letting slide? Are you allowing yourself to wither in other ways, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually? Hydration is structure. It's repetition. You wake up, you drink water, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. You do it because it aligns with a deeper truth that your body is an instrument and it needs to be tuned. Now, most people are so distracted, so caught up in noise and urgency, they let their needs slide. They prioritize everything but themselves. And then they wonder why they feel drained, why they look tired, why their skin starts to reflect stress like a tarnished mirror. You can't expect vibrancy from a system you refuse to maintain. And it's not just external. The act of staying hydrated does something else. It reminds you that your life is a process, not a product. You don't achieve beauty. You maintain it daily, quietly, unseen. And that's the kind of discipline that builds strength under the surface. Because every time you reach for water instead of another coffee or a sugar hit, you're making a tiny choice for life over decay. It's almost spiritual in its simplicity. Look closely at the women who age well, who really maintain that luminous, youthful presence into their 50s, 60s, and beyond. You'll see that their beauty isn't accidental. It's rooted in a philosophy. It's not vain, it's intentional. They hydrate because they've made peace with the fact that the body, like any valuable instrument, demands care, not indulgence. Care. There's a difference. So this is the truth. The mirror reflects your values. If you value chaos, neglect, and self-abandonment, it will show you that. But if you value order, clarity, and dignity, well, then your skin will echo that too. Hydration, then, is more than a health tip. It's a ritual of self-respect. And self-respect, sustained daily, is what keeps the light alive in the eyes and the glow on the skin, even as the years pass. People underestimate how much meaning there is in the small, repetitive things we do. A skincare routine, for instance. It's often dismissed as cosmetic, superficial, maybe even vain. But that's only because we've lost the language to describe why it matters. See, it's not about the lotion or the serum, not really. It's about creating structure, external structure from internal discipline. And structure is the antidote to chaos. Always has been. When a woman carves out 10 minutes every morning and night to tend to her face, she's doing more than applying product. She's asserting dominion over the day. She's saying no matter what else is going on, no matter the noise, the stress, the age creeping in, I will not surrender this ground. That's not vanity. That's a stand against entropy. Because the truth is, the face tells a story. It reflects not just biology, but behavior, sleep, stress, nutrition, but also consistency, ritual, effort. When a person commits to a skincare routine and follows through day in and day out, that's discipline made visible. It's an outward symbol of inward order. And that's not something you can fake with a filter or a one-time treatment. It's earned. Most people want quick fixes. They want the cream that erases 10 years in 10 minutes. But what they need is something entirely different. a reason to show up for themselves every single day, regardless of mood, regardless of outcome. A skincare routine is one of the few domains where that kind of quiet responsibility can still be practiced. It's an invitation to bring intentionality into the chaos of life. And when you start to build order in one area, just one, it tends to spread. It's contagious. Order begets order. There's a psychological component too. When you respect your skin enough to care for it, you begin to see yourself as someone worthy of care. That loops back inward and changes how you carry yourself, how you present, how you engage. Suddenly, it's not just about looking youthful. It's about embodying the habits that keep youthfulness alive in the soul. That's why the most striking women in their later years aren't the ones who tried to stop time. They're the ones who walked alongside it with grace, steadiness, and ritual. And here's the thing. You can't buy discipline. You can't fake consistency. You either do the work or you don't. You either show up every day with that quiet decision to maintain yourself, or you fall to disorder. And the mirror doesn't lie. It reflects who you've been, not just what you've done. So a consistent skincare routine, it's not just about smoother skin. It's a rehearsal for the rest of life. It's how you train yourself to respond to the chaos of aging with structure and intent. It's not the cream that's powerful, it's the discipline behind the hand that applies it. That's what makes the difference. That's what keeps a woman radiant, not just in appearance, but in spirit. There's a kind of lie that's been sold to women that youthfulness is something you apply, something you buy, something you chase in a bottle or a jar. But here's the truth, it's much harder to swallow. It's not what you put on yourself that keeps you youthful. It's how you carry yourself. And posture, upright, intentional, dignified posture is more powerful than any cosmetic on the market. When you slouch, you communicate something to the world, and not just to others, but to your own nervous system. You're telling yourself, I've given up, I'm tired, I want to shrink. That posture is a physical manifestation of psychological surrender. It's the pose of someone who's been beaten down by time, by pressure, by life. And over time, the body makes that shape permanent. The shoulders cave in, the back curves, the neck strains forward, almost as if trying to flee from the weight it refuses to lift. And once that shape settles in, it's not easy to undo. But stand up straight, pull your shoulders back, lift your head, and everything changes. It's not magic. It's alignment, physical alignment, yes, but also a deeper internal one. You're putting your body in a position of readiness, of alertness, of self-respect. That's not cosmetic. That's foundational. That's the kind of thing that radiates outward. People notice, even if they don't know why. They feel it because posture is presence. It signals that you are here and that you take your place in the world seriously. Look at dancers, look at gymnasts, look at soldiers. What do they have in common? They command attention, not because of what they're wearing, not because of how youthful their faces appear, but because they own the space they inhabit. Their bodies reflect discipline, structure, order. And that's timeless. That's magnetic. For older women especially, upright posture is a rebellion against cultural expectations. Society whispers, you've had your time, now fade quietly. But when you hold yourself tall, you refuse invisibility. You defy decline. You don't ask for permission to be seen. You demand it without saying a word. That's dignity. That's beauty that doesn't fade. It deepens. And make no mistake, posture isn't something you correct once and forget. It's something you build slowly, consciously, every day, through stretching, through strengthening, through simply noticing how you sit, how you walk, how you meet the world. It's work, quiet work. but it pays dividends that no makeup ever could. So if you want to appear youthful, start by reclaiming your verticality. Your spine is not just a stack of bones. It's the axis of your being. Straighten it, and you lift not just your body, but your spirit. And in a world that's trying to bend you under pressure, under time, under expectation, that is the most youthful thing you can do. There's something deeply misguided about how we've come to think about beauty. We treat it like a costume, a disguise, a tool to cover up flaws, to mask age, to pretend we're something we're not. But that approach, it's rooted in fear, not strength. And nowhere is that more obvious than in how makeup is often used, because there's a profound difference between using makeup to hide and using it to enhance. The first is an act of denial, the second an expression of confidence. Subtle makeup is a signal. It says, I see who I am, and I choose to emphasize it, not erase it. It's not about chasing youth like some lost horizon. It's about drawing attention to the character that time has carved, not pretending it never arrived. Because true beauty, lasting beauty, isn't found in the elimination of flaws. Subtle makeup, when applied with intention, strikes that balance. And think about what subtlety actually requires. It's not laziness. It's not minimalism for its own sake. It's control. It's precision. You have to know your face, really know it. You have to understand where the light falls, what needs softening, what deserves emphasis. That's not covering up. It's revealing. And it's a form of respect for yourself, for your features, for the years that have shaped them. See, when makeup is caked on in layers, when it's heavy and excessive, what it's really saying is, I'm afraid. I'm trying to hide. It becomes a mask, a shield against judgment. But subtle makeup, that's worn by someone who's not looking to disappear. That's someone who's ready to be seen. Someone who's learned that beauty doesn't scream, it whispers. And it whispers with precision, with restraint, with confidence that doesn't beg for validation. There's also a psychological impact here. When you learn to enhance your features without overcorrecting, you reinforce the belief that what you already have is enough. That belief over time builds into something powerful. It turns into composure, poise, a quiet kind of authority. People can feel it, and they trust it, because confidence built on authenticity is unshakable. And let's be honest, people are tired of illusions. We're bombarded by filtered, airbrushed perfection. It's hollow, it's lifeless. But a woman who wears her age with grace, who uses makeup not to flee from time, but to walk with it, that's magnetic. That's rare. So if you want to use makeup to appear more youthful, don't reach for the heavy hand, reach for intention. Subtlety isn't about doing less, it's about doing right. And that takes strength. It takes self-awareness. It takes the kind of inner clarity that no product can buy. In a world obsessed with appearance, subtle makeup is a revolutionary act. It says, I don't need to hide to be beautiful. I just need to show up as I am and mean it. It is natural. Left alone, everything tends toward disorder, toward collapse. That's true of buildings, it's true of systems, and it's absolutely true of the human body. Aging, in and of itself, isn't a failure, but surrendering to it prematurely, that is. And one of the clearest ways people surrender is by stopping movement. They slow down, they sit more, they let stiffness creep in. And before long, they start to move like they're old. But here's the hard truth. Once you start moving like you're old, your body begins to believe it. Movement is not optional. It's not an accessory to life. It is life. When a woman moves, she tells her body, we are still in the game. And not just the body, the mind hears it too. Movement aligns you with vitality. It's how you push back against the natural entropy that wants to pull everything downward. To stay still is to decay. To move is to fight. And I don't mean performance. I don't mean forcing yourself into punishing gym routines or chasing unrealistic body ideals. That's not what this is about. It's about reconnecting with your physical presence, walking with purpose, stretching in the morning instead of letting the stiffness take over, dancing in the kitchen, reaching, twisting, engaging, reminding every part of you that it still matters. Because here's the thing, the body is always listening. It adapts to the story you're telling it. If the story is, I'm done, I'm slowing down, I'm fragile, then it starts breaking itself down accordingly. But if the story is, I still have places to go, people to serve, things to build, then the body responds with strength. It rebuilds, it maintains. Not perfectly, not forever, but meaningfully. And there's a beauty in that, not just cosmetic beauty, but beauty is strength. Women who keep moving into their later years, who refuse to become passive observers in their own lives, carry an energy that can't be faked. It's not youth in the superficial sense. It's youthfulness as attitude, as action, as movement. Also sharpens awareness. When you move regularly, you begin to inhabit your body more fully. You notice how it reacts, where it tightens, where it's holding on to tension or fatigue. You develop a kind of dialogue with yourself, and that connection, that sensitivity is what allows for real care. You can't maintain what you've disconnected from. And many people live like strangers to their own physical form, but movement brings you home. So if you want to look youthful, start by acting alive, not just emotionally, physically. Take up space. Move like someone who still believes in her own capacity. Because when you do, you're sending a message, not just to your muscles and joints, but to your spirit. We are not finished yet. And that message, repeated through action, becomes the very thing that keeps you youthful. Not just in how you appear, but in how you exist. There's a dangerous idea circulating that caring about how you dress as you age is somehow a weakness, a sign of insecurity or vanity. But that's nonsense. In truth, dressing with intention is an act of clarity, not desperation. It reflects order in the self. It says, I know who I am, and I'm willing to communicate that visibly, unapologetically. That kind of outward coherence only comes from inward discipline. Because clothing is language. It speaks before you do. It sets a tone. And whether you like it or not, it's a form of order or disorder. And people see that. The way you dress either tells the world that you've collapsed inward and stopped caring, or that you've chosen to stay present, to still be part of the game. The mistake many make is assuming that dressing well is about trying to look younger. No, it's about respecting the body you inhabit and showing up in the world with dignity. When you dress carelessly, you're often saying something you didn't mean to say. You're broadcasting confusion, neglect, sometimes even resignation. You may not be aware of it, but the world notices. You notice. Every time you pass your reflection and flinch, every time you avoid mirrors, avoid effort, avoid being seen, you deepen the disconnect. And that disconnect corrodes confidence. But when you dress with intention, even if it's subtle, even if it's just putting together a look that reflects your mood, your values, your age, you're asserting control. You're shaping the chaos of daily life into something structured, something that reflects your story. And that structure doesn't have to scream. In fact, the most powerful style often whispers. It's not about flashy trends. It's about consistency, alignment, knowing what suits you, not just physically, but psychologically, and leaning into it. And there's courage in that. It's easier to retreat into baggy clothes, to avoid attention, to excuse yourself from the conversation of aesthetics. But that withdrawal has a cost. It starts to reinforce the idea that you no longer matter in the visible world, that you've forfeited the right to be noticed. That's a tragedy, Because how you dress is one of the few things you have full control over. It's a daily choice to either step into your life or shrink from it. Women who dress intentionally in their later years aren't clinging to youth, they're wielding wisdom. They've lived long enough to know who they are, and they use clothing to reflect that. Not to impress, not to compete, but to declare, I am still here and I still care. So dressing intentionally, it's not a cosmetic game, it's an existential one. It's a small but profound act of defiance against disorder, against invisibility, against decay. When you take the time to present yourself with clarity, you tell the world and yourself that there is still order inside you, still pride, still purpose. And that, more than anything, is what keeps beauty alive. You can see it in the eyes. That's where the truth lives. You can mask the surface, tweak it, paint it, lift it, but if there's no light behind the eyes, no force animating the face, then all the cosmetics in the world won't make you look alive. Because beauty, at its deepest level, is a reflection of spirit. And the spirit is only animated by one thing, purpose. When a woman has no purpose, she begins to fade. Not just socially, not just physically, but existentially. The vitality drains out of her. Her posture slumps. Her habits unravel. Her appearance becomes incidental, hollow, disconnected from meaning. But when a woman is animated by something larger than herself, when she wakes up and knows that she has something to do, something to give, something to fight for, that's when she radiates. That's when age becomes irrelevant, because the body may accumulate years, but the spirit doesn't wear out the same way. The spirit renews itself through responsibility. And people know this intuitively. We've all seen it. The woman who's 80 but still commands a room because she believes in something, still has fire in her belly. And we've seen the opposite too. Someone who gave up in her 40s, who decided she was finished long before the clock agreed. The difference isn't genetic, it's not luck, it's orientation toward meaning. Purpose is structure, it's order for the soul. Without it, the days blur, the habits slip, the body slows, but with it, everything organizes. Purpose gives you a reason to take care of yourself, not out of vanity, but because you need to be strong, clear-headed, and present to fulfill your task. It gives you the fuel to move, to dress well, to show up in the world as someone who matters, not because others say so, but because you've claimed that meaning for yourself. And let's be clear, purpose doesn't have to be grand or public. It can be found in caring for others, in mentoring, in creating, in serving, in building, whatever it is that brings structure to your existence and pulls you out of isolation. Because the worst thing age can do is trick you into retreating from the world, but purpose pulls you back in. It demands your attention. It forces you to orient yourself toward the future, even as time moves on. And that orientation, that forward-facing posture, is what makes a woman look alive, spirited, magnetic. Because beauty without purpose is decoration, but beauty rooted in purpose is presence. It draws people in, it holds their attention, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And real beauty, sustained beauty, comes from being fully engaged in the business of life. So yes, the face may wrinkle, the hair may gray, the skin may change, but the spirited woman, she never truly ages because she keeps moving toward something meaningful. And in that movement, she transcends time. She becomes more than just an image. She becomes a force. In the end, youthfulness isn't a matter of defying time or chasing illusions. It's a commitment, a daily practice of respect for yourself, expressed through hydration, discipline, movement, posture, intentional choices, and above all, purpose. When you cultivate these elements, you build a fortress of order within and around you that resists the chaos of decay. True beauty flows from that foundation, not from masks or shortcuts. It's the reflection of a life lived with clarity, strength, and meaning. And that is a kind of timelessness no age can erase.